Hey everyone, welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today for a really fascinating explainer. We're going to be exploring a very specific, highly structured debate stance on artificial intelligence. We're basically unpacking a source playbook that outlines exactly how to argue one of the most hotly contested issues of our modern era. And honestly, this couldn't be more relevant, right? I mean, we're living in a moment where AI is just seamlessly integrating into literally everything, from our complex data analysis at work right down to our daily grocery lists. So understanding how to critically evaluate its impact on our minds, that's an absolutely essential skill.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Is AI making us dumb? It's the core question at the absolute heart of today's source material. And honestly, it's a question I think we've all asked ourselves quietly. You know, like when we ask a chatbot to draft a quick email instead of just typing it out ourselves, or when we rely on an algorithm to write a heartfelt birthday message for a family member. It's provocative, it's controversial, and it is the exact foundation of the debate strategy we're going to deconstruct right now.
Section 1. The AI debate premise. Let's set the stage. So, the exact debate stance we're examining today is direct, and it does not pull its punches. The stance is, AI is making us dependent and dumb. The source text intentionally uses this really severe phrasing to anchor its argument. It posits that we aren't just adopting a handy new convenience, we're fundamentally eroding our own cognitive independence. Now, our goal today is to impartially break down the absolute strongest arguments provided in the source text for this specific position. We want to understand the mechanics of exactly why this argument resonates so powerfully with so many people.
Moving on to Section 2, Losing Our Cognitive Edge. The source kicks things off by targeting the loss of critical thinking. Consider the human brain wrestling with a complex problem, like navigating a maze, solving it organically through trial, error, and just sheer persistence. Now contrast that dynamic process with simply pushing a button for an instant answer. The core argument here is that because AI hands us the finish line immediately, we bypass all that necessary cognitive friction. People literally stop doing the vital, sometimes really frustrating work of problem-solving themselves, and choose instead to just outsource that cognitive load entirely.
And you can see how this cascades. When we start treating AI as this infinite external server rack designed to hold all our facts, our own mental cobwebs start to form. Think about it. If AI is constantly acting as a perfect digital memory bank, the natural consequence is that we just stop bothering to learn or retain information ourselves. Just like a muscle that sits completely dormant, the text argues that our own mental retention and memory skills will actively weaken. Over time, it leaves us less sharp and much less capable of holding complex information in our own minds.
Which brings us to Section 3, Diminishing Creativity and Learning.
So the crucial point is right here: shallow knowledge. The source defines this as the result of focusing on getting instant answers instead of actually understanding the process. Think about a student who uses AI to perfectly output the final answer to a really complex calculus equation. Sure, they have the answer, but if you ask them to explain the underlying logic, they completely freeze. When you skip the journey of learning, the discovery, the mistakes, the methodology, and just copy-paste the result, your understanding of the topic is entirely superficial. And we can totally see how this leads to the caged potential of human imagination. Developing your own creativity requires staring at a blank page, experiencing some productive struggle, and allowing a uniquely human spark to ignite. But when we relegate our brainstorming, our essay writing, and our idea creation to an automated assembly line, the source argues it severely limits us. Workers and students just box themselves in. They end up trading their own boundless imaginative potential for whatever predictable, perfectly average output the algorithm decides to spit out.
Let's look at Section 4, the Laziness and Dependence Trap.
At this point, the source text shifts from cognitive theory to real-world behavioral traps. It points directly to how people systematically use AI to just avoid effort. Think of this like a cobwebbed barbell sitting in the corner of a gym. If you program an AI drone to do all your heavy lifting, doing your homework, conducting your deep research, bypassing your daily problem solving, well, your own muscles simply atrophy. By dodging this fundamental effort, you aren't just saving time. According to this debate stance, you are actively sabotaging your personal and professional skill development.
Which brings us to a frankly alarming question, one that creates immense tension in this whole debate. What if the AI systems fail? Seriously, what happens if the server goes down, the power goes out, or the technology is suddenly completely unavailable to us?
The consequence outlined in the text is a state of stark paralysis. We would struggle to complete basic tasks on our own. It's the ultimate vulnerability of overdependence.
Imagine relying on GPS navigation every single day for a decade, only to suddenly find yourself holding a paper map with absolutely no idea how to find true north. If you spent years letting an algorithm do your thinking, your writing, and your problem-solving, removing that crutch doesn't just inconvenience you, it exposes the harsh fact that the tool hasn't made you more capable, it has made you utterly reliant.
And finally, Section 5, the ultimate debate rebuttal.
Listen to this brilliant historical parallel straight from the source playbook. It says, AI is a useful tool, but when people rely on it too much, they stop thinking, learning, and creating for themselves. Just as calculators reduced mental math skills, excessive AI use can reduce critical thinking and make us dependent on technology. That calculator analogy, it is incredibly powerful for a debate. It grounds this abstract, kind of futuristic fear of AI into a proven, undeniable historical reality that literally everyone instantly recognizes.
So your best defense, your ultimate shield against the opposition's core argument is beautifully simple. If someone argues, well, AI makes us smarter, the text equips you with this exact rebuttal. AI makes us smarter only when used as a tool, but many people use it as a replacement for thinking, which creates dependence rather than intelligence. Notice the heavy emphasis on those two words, tool versus replacement. It perfectly reframes the entire conversation, contrasting the illusion of heightened intelligence with the harsh reality of systemic dependence.
While we've journeyed all the way from the unseen erosion of our cognitive edge and our memory, right through to the systemic risks of total technological dependence. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this debate tactic turned into a personal mirror. Ask yourself, are you using AI as a tool or a replacement? It's a really provocative thought to carry with you today as you open your laptop, pull up a search bar, or ask an algorithm for help. Are you actively enhancing your own mind, or are you slowly outsourcing it? Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this explainer, and as always, keep asking the big questions.